So, priorities for HR, looking to the future. I think from a strategic point of view, I think we need to think about this design. I think we need to look at scenario planning and succession planning. So we need to be thinking about what's the scenario of our business in 2020, 2022. Because if you're developing people to do those roles, they need to be fit for 2022, not 2016 when you put them on the program. We need to have an HR technology strategy. If you haven't got that, then I do believe you're going to struggle. We need to think about where we fit on the digital transformation. We're all thinking about digital. Digital is not about apps. Digital is a culture change because it's leading to empowerment, accountability, trust, and all that stuff. I think we need to future-proof our stuff. You know, your competency framework's probably really good, lovely, very nicely put together. It's probably 3 years old, and I bet you it was out of date the day you launched it. We need to be thinking about what is it we want our people to be learning to do in the next 2 to 3 years. And that's the framework. Workforce planning has got to become really important about how we position people for jobs and how we make them feel fit for purpose and also quite excited about being here. And that's where this personalised learning comes in. These for me are the sort of the capability of tomorrow for a practitioner. And you're looking at it thinking, oh my God, we always get these models, don't we? But I guess the point I'm trying to say, culture and employee experience is a really important element of it because it's about changing the way we do things around here. And technology is going to drive that. We need to be designing and architecting what it looks like. Public sector will focus probably on productivity and all the value add. Private sector will probably look at profitability and growth. But that's our mindset, not about the fact that this is a great program that might get us an award next year. We need to be a data and analytics translator. Look at my word, translator. Not an analyzer, a translator. We have an amazing amount of knowledge in this room about what's going on in organizations, and we need to translate what feedback we get that makes sense for a business. We need to understand technology. I have no idea what goes on behind the technology thing, but I know what it can do. And as far as I'm concerned, it enables me to do all the stuff that is really interesting. Now, for some of your colleagues in HR, that might be scary because they might quite like doing what they're doing today. But I don't think that's necessarily going to be the priority. So we do need to make our practices better, quicker, more efficient, and all that good stuff. But we must never forget that we're an educator and a coach to managers and to leaders. We've got an incredibly tough job of trying to tell people who are more experienced, more senior, that there might be a better way of doing things. That's quite a hard gig. So, my conclusions. Mindset, that's the thing that underpins it. We've got to think differently about what we do. And, you know, when I look at it, I look at this list, and that was me probably, when I was working in that way, I was thinking, yeah, I'm doing all that. I would do all that stuff. But that was the way I did it. Tomorrow is going to be about this stuff. Challenging, anticipating, proactively, expectations. You may mess it up. It's not going to work all the time. And you might think, yeah, but our culture wouldn't let that happen. Well, you've got to have some conversations because success doesn't come without some learnings along the way. So, you know, as I sum up, I'm sort of thinking commerciality is a critical part. It's driving more of an evidence-based approach, things that we need to do based on some information and insights. Because my perspective is that then will do these things. Build a credible commercial HR function in whatever sector. My final thought, I look at HR today, and it sort of has a number of those sorts of things in it. And there's nothing wrong with that. My perspective is that with data and evidence-based approach, it's going to go into this. We're not going to have functional expertise in every discipline. Why the hell do I have, for example, I'm not picking on them, why, for example, we've got a comps and bends team with 5, 6, 7 people in it, when actually I could go externally and get the top leading advice for 2 months a year. Cost will be less. So what I'm saying is we need to think differently about it. We've got learning and development functions, you know, which are doing some lovely, great things. But what about the self-curation of material and learning? That's what some organisations in Europe are doing now. It's not about blended learning, whatever that ever was. It's about getting the right solution that fits the person and what they want to do. And all of this, for me, is underpinned by 6 things. I called it the 6 C's. So my plea to you would be, we need to get more commercial, turn what you do into the language of the business. That will build instantly your credibility. But we do need to have a bit of courage here. We do need to step up. We do need to challenge. We do need to actually upset the status quo a bit. And that may mean we need to change some of our skills and some of the capabilities that we've got used to. But we do also need to have some confidence in what we do. I very rarely see newsletters in organisations that have anything where HR is talking about what it's doing. Now, it could be that they're actually not doing anything. But I doubt that, because they do some really great stuff. You know that. We do some great stuff, but we haven't sometimes got the balls to tell people what it is we do. And we're very good in connecting with people. We are great. You know, I did a big study of capabilities of HR, and collaboration was top of the loop, you know, top for HR. But I don't think we use it enough. That's a really interesting lever. So my final message is, please never forget the H in HR. Whether there's data, capability, technology, whatever it is, please never forget that. It's important. But we do need to make sure that we bring that to life in a way that the businesses understand. If you're interested in all this sort of stuff that I've been throwing at you today, follow me on HR Curator. I've got about 19 and a bit thousand HR people across the globe following me. I'm always interested to hear what people are after.